Hi, some thoughts for today, the third Sunday of Lent. Frozen in time. This was the headline telling of the wonderful discovery of Sir Ernest Shackleton's ship Endurance, which sank to 10,000 feet in the Weddell Sea in Antarctica over 100 years ago. Mr. Bound and his team faced some serious obstacles in their search. There is the Weddell Sea's notoriously thick sea ice, the Antarctic blizzards and minus 18-degree temperatures, as well as the daunting 2-mile depth at which the ship most likely lay. It was quite a challenge. With the help of modern technology, their diligent search was rewarded as Endurance came into view. Some letter writers to the papers have commented, first the Titanic, then the Bismarck, and this week Endurance. Now all that's left to find is Nessie. Another writer said, never mind Nessie. What about finding Malaysia Airlines flight MH370, lost 8 years ago this month? All were lost, waiting to be found, frozen in their own time. In the Ukraine, we see lives frozen in time. So many lives lost, waiting to be found. Refugees fleeing their homes and families, waiting to be found. Lives frozen, stuck, waiting to be discovered and rescued. We join Jesus today with some people as they discuss the latest atrocities committed by Pilate's soldiers. Some Galileans were murdered in the middle of their sacrifices at the temple in Jerusalem. The people are asking, why could such an atrocity happen? And how could Pilate sanction such behaviour? Many of the crowd would have believed that this human disaster was a direct punishment from God himself. No need for an inquiry. Those who took the full brunt of the punishment quite obviously deserved it. Also, those crushed by the tower at Siloam, were they worse than their neighbours in Jerusalem, asked Jesus? The people's attitude was not much consolation to the grieving families, who felt that their loved ones who died were actually quite nice and lovely people. To have them written off in such a way does not seem right at all. Jesus has sympathy for the bereaved and cannot agree that people can be discarded in such a way, and so asks them to listen to a story. The vineyard, the traditional symbol of security, wealth and fulfilled promise, is a special place, normally reserved for vines only. Yet in this story, Jesus talks about a fig tree which was planted in the vineyard. At the time of Jesus, this was not unusual. Good soil was so scarce that trees were planted wherever the ground was fertile. So you are dealing here with a tree which has been planted in a very privileged place. In the normal course of events, it takes 3 years for a fig tree to reach maturity. If by that time it is not fruiting, it is not likely to fruit at all. Such was the case with the tree Jesus was talking about. For 3 years, the owner had been coming to it and finding it barren. He came to the conclusion that the tree was useless. It was drawing nourishment from the ground, but giving nothing back. It had to go. It was taking up valuable space, so he told the gardener just to get rid of it. The gardener, though, asked the owner to give the tree another year, during which he will give some extra care and attention to see if it will eventually bear fruit. The Gospel of Jesus has often been called the Gospel of the Second Chance. Jesus, in his life and work, set out to search for and discover the lost, those whose lives had been frozen with little chance of moving forward, lives that were barren and unable to produce fruit. Jesus sought to nurture and encourage so that they could blossom. Jesus, as the gardener in the story, is prepared to give extra time and patience, and also displays an abundant generosity. The lost will be found and have a chance to bloom. The frozen will be brought back to life. God in Jesus asks us to nurture those who feel lost and afraid, but also to challenge the societies and ideologies that caused them to be lost. The generosity of our care and patience, both for and with one another, makes all the difference. Just ask the fig tree. Travel safe, pilgrim.